All right, ready and go. Hi, my name is Mr. Evangelista, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build your robots, okay? Now, a couple of tips. All of these pieces of the VEX IQ kit should snap in fairly easily with very minimal amount of force, okay? Now, especially if you work out a lot like Mr. E and you're really strong and you don't know your own strength, you got to be really careful about how much pressure you put on the parts, because they are, you know, kind of little pieces of plastic that you can break. You don't want to break the pieces. You want to help take care of the robot pieces, okay? So let's go ahead and start. A couple of little tricks. So we're going to use these connectors a lot, these little blue connectors. And sometimes when you place them in, they're kind of hard to take out. Oh, sometimes they're hard to take out. So if you're trying to take this piece out and it's hard, don't use your mouth to take it out. If you can get to the back side of it and kind of just gently press, you can pop it out enough to pull it out, okay? Now, if let's say this connector piece was somewhere in your robot where it's hard to get to, or let's say with this motor here, there's no backing to it, and I place this connector piece in that motor, how can I get it out? You know, it's hard for me to get that out. So what I can do is I can use just another piece to kind of place it in there, and let's see if I can do this. If I turn it a little bit when I take it out, then I can pop that piece out. Okay. And so let's go ahead and start the build. Talking about these connector pieces. Okay. There are several types. So we've got a short to short. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but that's how I'm going to describe it. So we've got a short to short piece. We have a short to medium piece. And we have a long to long piece. So those are the three types of those blue connectors that we're going to be talking about, okay? And I'm going to get a piece that looks like this. I'm going to describe this piece by the number of holes that it has, okay? So this is, I'm going to call a 2x12 piece, okay? That's because it's got 2 holes running this way and 12 holes running this way. And I'm going to get 6 of those short to short connectors, and I'm going to put them in these holes that you see here. Okay, you're going to leave a little bit of gap right here, okay? And I'm going to use these pieces to connect this 2x12 to this motor right here. So this is a motor. How these motor works is electrical current will run through the motor, and when that electricity runs through it, a magnet will turn, and I can use this motor to do some work for me. Okay, so I am going to attach this motor to my 2x12 piece. Okay, so that this part is flush or aligned with that piece. Okay, a couple of things. I want this opening of the Ethernet cable to be pointing down the 2x12 piece. Okay, so again, if you line everything up right, it should snap in with very minimal effort there. Okay. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is, so the motor, what goes inside the motor are these axles. And if you look at the axles that you have 3 types of axles, or 3 lengths of these metal axles. We've got short, a medium, and a long one. We're not going to use the long one for this build. We're just going to use the short and the medium piece. So for this one, you're going to need just the short piece, okay? And the short piece is going to go into the third hole from the middle third hole from the bottom. And if you push it in and kind of turn it a little bit just to make sure that it goes inside of the motor, and when you turn it, you should be able to hear the gears inside of the motor turning. You don't want to do this too much, but you can just kind of check to make sure that the axle is inside of the motor. Okay. Now, what else we're going to attach? So on here, I've got this 2x3L piece, and it has these these are long to long connectors, okay? The long to long connectors, the blue pieces, and then I've got this kind of angled piece here. I want to see if I can show you. It's got 3 holes in it, okay? So find the one that has 3 holes. There's a 5-hole one. Get the one that has 3 holes. This kind of angle connector here. Okay, so I'm going to take this L piece. The angle connector should be facing the same way as the L piece, okay? And this is going to go at the end of my build right here. Okay, just like that. Okay, kind of looks like a little horsey right now. Okay. Okay, so at this point, I am ready to start assembling my gear train, okay? So I'm gonna get one of these gears here. It's got 9 holes in it, and I'm gonna place the center hole of that gear through this axle, okay? Now these gears, they have teeth, which allows me to create what's called a gear train, where one gear will turn another gear, which will turn another gear, and that's called a gear train, okay? Now I'm gonna secure this gear in place by adding one of these black little friction collars, okay? So this just slides on there, and it's got enough friction on the axle to keep the gear from popping out. Okay, so it looks like that. Now I'm gonna get one of these, another similar size gear, but I'm going to use a short black rubber axle, and it already has this friction collar on it. And I'm going to place it next to that gear so that it looks like that. Now notice now that when I turn these gears, they both turn. So just putting in the effort into this gear will actually turn this gear as well. A couple of things to notice: they will also spin in opposite directions. So two gears right next to each other are going to spin in the opposite directions. I'm going to get a third axle and gear. This is using the medium size axle. It's got that friction collar on it, and I'm going to add it to my gear train. And if you look down, when I turn it, these are going to spin in the same direction, while this one is spinning in the opposite direction. This middle gear here, we call this an idler gear, because all it's really doing is making sure that these two gears are spinning in the same directions, okay? Now I'm going to need these black standoffs. They've got these two little sections to it, and those are going to go, these are just little spacers, okay? And those are going to go at the end of my 2x12 piece here. Okay, and there's my constructed gear train, and all I'm going to do is get another 2x12 piece, and I'm just going to line everything up and snap that on so that it's nice and secure. Should look something like this. Okay, now after I do all this, I can get these wheels. Okay, these the rubber part of your wheel might not be attached to your actual wheel, so you might need to attach those. And I am going to place them on the axles. Hopefully the wheels were holding up the camera. Didn't think about that. But I'm going to place them on the end of the axles, just like so, and then we need to hold them in place by adding more friction collars. Okay, the wheels, they've got some writing on the outside, so I like to put the writing of the wheel on the outside. Let's go ahead and put those in, just like so. Wow, did you have fun building that? Well, I hope you did, because we have built one side of our chassis of our drive system, and what we're going to need to do is build another one. So as much fun as you had building that other one, well, you're in luck, because you get to build another one, okay? So we are going to build another one that mirrors this other side. You know, just kind of flipped in the opposite directions, but you are going to follow the same steps as in your document, okay? And again, put the wheels on and secure them with the friction collars. Okay, the next step is to get this piece here. It's a 2x1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2x8. And I am using a short to medium connector here. Short and medium connector, okay? And I am using this black angle piece here, and I'm going to put those on both sides. Okay, and so you should have something that looks like this. Now I'm going to get L pieces. This L piece is a 3x1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3x5 L piece, and they are going to go on this side with the L's facing in. I'm going to connect it like so. Okay, the L's facing in, and you should have something that looks like this. now that you have this piece, this is actually going to bring our two drives together. And so you are going to place this, it goes in between, it goes like so. So in between this axle and the rubber axle, between these two gear trains, it's going to go on that side, and you are going to do the same on the other side. Okay, and so you should get something that looks like this. Okay, we're going to get another one of these 2x12, and we've got these short-to-short connectors, and we're going to place them on the 2x12 like so. And then you're going to need these, well, first, let's do this. You've got this 4x4 square, this 4x4 square, and that is going to go in the front of your 2x12 like so. Snap it on there like so. And then you're going to need these 3x5 L's, and the L's are going to face inward, and you are going to place them in like this, and should get something that looks like this. Now you are going to get these short to short, and you are going to put 4 of them in those L's that we just had, like so. Then you're going to get these 1x6s and place them like this. Notice this is on the opposite side of where I placed the L in that square piece. I'm putting this 1x6 on both sides. Okay, so you got this kind of wall kind of shape going on. Okay, now you are going to take the cortex, okay, this is kind of like the brain of your robot, and on the side of the cortex that is ports 1 through 6, you are going to put these short to short connectors, and on the side that says 7 to 12, you have a short to long on the outsides, and then short to shorts on the inner ones. Okay, now you're going to take your chassis, or your where the wheels are, the base where the wheels are, and you are going to get your cortex, and you are going to plug it in. This is the side that says 1 to 6. 1 to 6 is going to go on those L's, like so. Okay, 1 to 6 on the L's like so. Okay, now I'm going to take this great wall that I built earlier, okay, and with the square and the L's facing this way, I am going to attach this to my build. Show you guys in a sec what I'm doing. Okay, and it should attach like so. Okay, the last thing we need to do to finish up the drive is to get these short Ethernet cables. One is going to go in port 1, and the other one is going to go in port 6. Now the one that was in port 1, you're going to put it in this motor right here. Okay. Pretty much just don't crisscross the wires. So that's going to go there. And the other one is going to go in the other motor. Like so. Just a quick way to test if everything's working. You can, as long as the battery here is plugged in, you can go ahead and press the check mark. And we are going to go to settings, so press the X. And I'm going to go to device info, and it's showing me port 1 motor, and if I press the check, it will start the motor. Now you might want to pick the robot up off the table, not too high, just a little bit so the wheels are off the ground. Make sure none of your fingers are in the gears or anything. If I press the check mark, you can see that it should run that motor, and press check mark again to stop. And then if I go to port 6, again pressing the check mark should start this motor. And if everything looks good, then you've built it correctly. Alright, change the shirt, put a hat on. Let's get back to our robot. And so last time we went through steps 1 to 19 on how to build your robot. And now we're going to do some additional steps that were not on your steps 1 to 19. Okay, so you're not going to find these steps in the directions. So you're going to kind of have to follow along with me to make sure you do these steps. Okay, now we're going to add some sensors to our bot. And the sensors that we're going to be using are these push buttons, okay? And what we're going to be using these push buttons for are that when a robot, we're going to want our robot to, when it hits something, it's going to want to back up and turn away so it doesn't get stuck just constantly running into something, okay? So we're going to add these push button sensors to our robot, one on the left and one on the right, so that if a robot ever hits something, let's say it hits something on the left side, maybe it can back up and turn right, and if it hits something on the right, maybe it can back up and turn left. Okay? And so the way these works is get these push buttons here, and I'm putting these short-to-short connectors, and I am going to place them in the front of the robot, and they have these short Ethernet cables on there, okay? So you're going to attach them with the Ethernet cable upward, and I am just going to put one on the left side of my robot, good, and one on the right side of my robot. Perfect. Now, these, I can plug these in. I'm just going to plug them into ports 8 and 11 because they're nice and easy. So port 8, here a nice little click, port 11, okay? Now, I don't want to kink these too much, but, you know, these are kind of in the way, so I'm just going to kind of tuck them underneath the robot, making sure that they're not in the way of that gear train right there. All right? Cool. Now the whole point of this bot, what we're going to try to do is we're trying to make some art bots. Excuse me, something was in my eye. What an art bot is we need to somehow attach a marker to our robot so that when the robot drives around, it's going to be able to draw something. Okay? Now I'm not going to tell you guys exactly how to attach your marker to your robot. I'm going to kind of leave it up to you guys to design something with any of the tools that you see that's part of the kit. So you can use any tool you want, and I want you to try and figure out a way to attach a marker to your robot. So I've created a little design here. Okay, and so there's my marker, and then so now when the robot drives around, okay, maybe say it does a little turn or something, you can see that you know, the robot is going to you know, it doesn't look very pretty right now, but that's because I'm not a very good artist, but it's going to be able to draw a line as it drives along the paper. Alright, so go ahead and try and design something, work with your partner, try to design something, a way to attach this marker onto your bot.